Welcome to Nightmare Echoes. Listen, scream, and embrace your horror obsession. In this episode, Jesse's back to talk about It Follows, starring Miaka Monroe, where we'll cover topics such as which friends and family is it impersonating? What theories do we have on the film? And can someone explain this clamshell device? Also, Insomniacs, I wanted to say, while recording, I forgot to mention that Miaka Monroe was in Watcher and Longlegs, which are two movies which I really enjoy. Also, I pronounced Micah wrong, so I wanted to mention that here before the episode started. Next week on the podcast, Margo's back to talk about the 2013 Evil Dead remake, so subscribe not to miss that one. And if you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review. Now for the episode. Hello everybody and welcome back to Nightmare Echoes. I'm your host Elazar. I'm joined again by Jesse. Jesse, how's it going?
About 3.
Out of 5?
No, just 3.
Okay, all right. Today we're covering It Follows 2014, written and directed by David Robert Mitchell, and it's starring Miaka Monroe, who is in The Fifth Wave, The Guest, Independence Day Resurrection, and it has the tagline, "It doesn't think, it doesn't feel, it doesn't give up." It had a budget of $1.3 million and made $23.3 million in the box office.
Not too bad.
The score was composed by a guy named Rich Vierland, who went by
Disasterpiece, and it is awesome.
That's why I couldn't wait to talk to you about this. I figured that you would have some comments on the score.
My comments on the score are that it is awesome. It was fantastic. One of the best scores I've ever heard, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he did video games before this. This was his first foray into movies.
Yeah, and it fit the movie really well, too.
Yeah, I loved it. Oh, so good. All right, if we wanted to do a spoiler-free summary before, just in case people hadn't seen it, well, how would you describe it?
I would say it is a movie about a sexually transmitted demon. You pick up this demon that slowly follows you and is going to kill you if it catches you. The only way to get rid of it is to pass it on to someone else the same way. You might think, well, it's only following you slowly, and I kind of do think that, but apparently that's still a problem, judging by the way the movie unfolds. But
sure.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, all right. So if you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. I liked it. I like watching it without knowing what was going to happen. It was a lot of fun. I think we're going to analyze it. The movie starts out, we're in a quiet neighborhood in Detroit, and this girl named Annie is running outside in high heels. She looks kind of panicked, and then she runs back to her house, grabs her purse, she gets in a car and drives off without her dad understanding where she went. Then we cut to her on a beach. She gets a phone call from her dad on her flip phone, cell phone.
That's what is the deal with the seashell phone, by the way? There's one of the other characters is a seashell phone. I don't understand. Have you seen a phone like that?
No, so that was just an e-reader.
Oh, it's just a reader.
It's an e-reader. I've never seen it. I don't think it exists in our reality.
Interesting.
I think it exists in their reality. If you want to jump to that now, we can. I think that there's many theories on how to break this down, but one theory is that this is a dream and that the whole movie is, I think the term is non-anachronistic.
I guess I don't know.
They're not set in one place or time.
Okay, see, I was going to make a comment about that at some point, because I did notice that there were aspects of it that seemed hard to pin down in time, like it seemed kind of modern day, but then there were things that didn't seem modern day, and I was very confused.
So the kids, at least in the main part of the story, none of them have a cell phone. All the cars that they drive around are from the 70s or 80s.
Yes, I noticed that.
And it's only in this opening scene where we get a cell phone, even though it's just like an old flip phone, and a more modern car. So either this first scene takes place in the present and everything else is way in the past.
Oh, man.
Or...
I didn't notice that.
But that doesn't work with this clamshell e-reader.
Yeah.
So
the fact that doesn't exist in our reality is interesting in its own right, regardless of the notes about time. Right.
But also, the TVs that they watch are all something you would see in the 80s. They're all like big tube TVs.
Yeah, I noticed that.
All the movies they're watching are black and white.
And they go to the theater at one point that has a movie organ, a theater organ, like someone playing an organ in the theater.
That's real. That does exist in Detroit, and they still play that before you watch a movie in that theater.
Really?
Yeah.
So the one thing that I thought was the most notably anachronistic is actually not.
Yeah, it is in our reality. But other than that, it goes another level. In one scene, our main character is swimming in a bikini, and in the next scene, she's walking with her sister wearing a big, thick winter coat. They both are. The next scene again, they're back in summer weather.
I didn't notice
and
that. And
between scene to scene, it's very much set up so that you never know when it's set season-wise either. It could be in the summer or it could be in the winter, and it's never clear. So all of that is evidence that it could be part of a dream. There's more. If it, the creature that's following, took the form of the parent, we get to see their face in a picture, or we get to see their face as a reality human. And I'll give you an example. When she's first in the parking structure, when she's tied to the wheelchair, and there's the naked woman following her, in that moment, we don't know who that woman is. But later, when they go get to meet the man that passed it on to her, and his mother answers the door, that is the same actress that played it when we first saw it following her.
We really are jumping ahead. I'm realizing now, I guess I didn't notice a lot of things in this movie. I didn't notice anyone's face was blurred at all.
Okay, well, let's go through it, and I'll walk you through
Yeah,
it.
okay,
So let's go through the movie. The girl's on the beach. She answers the cell phone. She's apologizing to her dad. She's sorry for not being a great daughter all the time. It cuts to the morning. She's still on the beach. Her whole body's deformed. Her legs bent the wrong way.
Yeah.
And she's still wearing the high heels, so we know it's her.
So it looks like a very, very gruesome death. Like, they're going for, not only does it kill you, I guess, but it kills you in the most horrible possible way.
Sure.
So they really want you to be afraid of this thing.
Exactly. Then we get sometime later or before, depending on your theory on when this takes place. Paul, who's the friend of these main characters, is knocking on the door, and we cut to the backyard, and we see that our main character, Jay, which is short for Jamie, is swimming in her pool in the backyard. Her sister, Kelly, comes out to tell her that Paul and Yara have come over to watch a movie, Killers from Space, 1954. Jay says no to Kelly, which she normally would like to watch a movie, but she has a date. Kelly wants to know if it's that same guy she's been seeing, and she says yes it is. We find out that her sister approved. And then we get this scene where these kids in the fence are looking at Jay. Back inside, we see all the friends on the couch. Her mother is facing the other way in the kitchen, and we never see her face.
Okay.
Paul's in the couch with Yara. She's looking in this clamshell thing we talked about. It would have makeup on the bottom and a mirror on top, so that you'd apply your makeup. But in this, it's an e-reader. She's reading The Idiot. She makes a joke to Paul that she has an idea, and then she farts, and she's like, it got away, which I think was pretty funny.
I wonder if they went to all the effort of creating an e-reader that doesn't exist in our world, it must have a meaning. You know, it must be there for a reason. And I wondered if it's just to further confuse the timeline, because you've got something that seems like an old-fashioned compact, right? But it's the opposite. It's like a piece of technology that is unfamiliar to us.
Right. We know that it has Wi-Fi because there's a symbol on the top left.
Ah, okay.
But yeah. And then, so in her room, Jay's getting ready for her date, and we see that she has an old-timey TV with an old dial that you would have to manually change, and bunny ear antennas. She goes to the mirror, she takes the medicine, she looks over herself, and in the mirror we see a picture of herself swimming, and below that is a picture of her younger with her father, who we find sometime in this movie that passed away a long time ago.
Okay.
She puts on lipstick. We hear the amazing music. I'm going to say that a lot. Like, the music is amazing.
The music really is amazing. I agree. It's just so unique. I guess it's just Disaster Pieces style, but
it's really good.
It's really unique. It's really different, and it sure does set a mood.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna struggle not to talk about it this whole time, but we bring it up. I don't want to bring it up too much, I guess. It's just so good. I mean, it is a major piece of this movie, and without it, I don't think the movie would be anywhere near as good as it is.
Totally agree. I think that's true just in general. I think music is way more important for movies than people usually give it credit for.
Sure. She's on her date with this guy named Hugh, who's played by Jake Weaver, who was in Zombievers. When they're in line to buy the tickets for this movie, she says that when she was a kid, she used to play this game all the time when she was bored, and he asked her if she's bored right now. And she's like, shut up. Like, that's not the point. I just want to play this game. And they're playing this game where they're supposed to switch places with other people in their head. Like, pick someone in the crowd. We're going to switch places with them. And then the other person has two guesses to guess who they're switching places with and why. He goes. Then we cut to inside. They're in line for popcorn. The conversation seems to continue without pause. And she guesses that he wants to be this guy who's looks like really romantically involved with this beautiful blonde woman on the stairs. He says no. He points over this family. She thinks he means he wants to be the father. He says no, he wants to be that little kid. Yeah. And he's like, well, the little kid's got so much life ahead of him. And she's like, you're 21. Like, you're not old. He says, well, yeah, but that kid could be shitting his pants right now and no one can get after him.
Yeah, that's totally relatable. I can completely agree with that. I think the times that I was the happiest in my life were when I was a little kid, right?
Yeah, completely.
Before all the problems started. All the problems start when you have to worry about things. You have to start taking care of things.
Right. All right, so we're inside the theater. This is where we get the man playing the organ before the movie starts, and it's her turn to pick. So she turns around. She says she's got it. Hugh turns around saying that it must be the girl in the little yellow dress. And Jay can't see it. The girl, Hugh's like, you sure you can't see her? She's right there. Jay thinks he's pulling a joke on her. Hugh says he's uncomfortable and they need to leave right away.
There's an irony that the person he says he wants to be is the creature that's going to kill him.
Oh, no. Yeah. He thinks that's who she picked.
Oh,
Because he wanted to be that little boy.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, the creature the person he thinks she wants to be. Let me put it that way.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So they leave.
Yeah.
She's worried that it was an ex or something that he saw. He said he just doesn't feel well. But then he drives her across town. We see them having dinner and they're talking, although we don't hear them talking. We just hear the score. And across the street, when she bends down to take a bite of her food, as her head goes down, we see a figure walking towards the restaurant, although it's left ambiguous to whether that is it or not. Which I like about this movie is a lot of things are left ambiguous.
Oh, yeah. And that's another example of a really good shot. This movie is full of amazing shots, just beautiful camera work.
Yeah.
Really cool shots that incorporate a lot of elements and neat to watch.
I agree. So the next day, this is where Jay and Kelly are walking, and Kelly is smoking. They are wearing turtleneck sweater and heavy jackets. The day before, they were wearing shorts and bathing suits. Kelly's out there because they don't want their mom to see that she smokes, even though Jay says the mom already knows. Kelly says if she sees my cigarettes, she'll just take them for herself. Kelly asks how the date went, and she says that Hugh felt a little weird last night, but they're going out again tonight, and hopefully it'll be better. Kelly asks if they had sex yet. Jay says no, that she knows he wants to, but last night just didn't work out. And then Kelly asks if she smells bad because of the cigarettes. Jay sniffs her, saying that she smells like cherry Coke banana nicotine, which Kelly says is her favorite flavor, which I thought was a little funny thing.
I think we're starting to build at this point a theme that I think kind of runs through the movie, maybe a theme of like freedom.
Sure.
That I keep one form or another of freedom keeps coming up, and they're certainly free from their parents. Like you said, we don't even barely see them, right?
Right, exactly. On the other side of the street, we see the guy who we're going to know is named Greg, who's washing his car. He's played by Daniel Zavato. I might have said that wrong. He's in The Pope's Exorcist and Don't Breathe. He waves to them so that we know they're at least acquaintances.
And he's not a monster.
He's not a monster. We cut to nighttime, and Jay is on another date with Hugh. They're sitting on a blanket near the water, and she suggests that they go back to the car. And we do cut to them having sex. Right after having sex, she's laying in the back seat with the car doors open. She's playing with the grass. Hugh goes out and opens the trunk. You kind of just hear this in the background. He comes over, gets on top of her, and she thinks he's just cuddling her when he chloroforms her. Which my first thought was, well, is it better because he did it after the sex? No, it's not better. It's not better. You can't chloroform somebody.
Well, hang on. Better is a loaded word. Is it less bad?
Is it less bad?
Is it less bad? Is it less bad to chloroform someone and... I mean, because I think it's pretty bad to chloroform someone and rape them, so...
Yes. You're right. Okay, yeah. He didn't rape her because it was consensual. That's definitely...
Which really
clear.
just makes everything that much more complicated, right? The fact that
Yes.
it's consensual makes it that much harder to, like, reconcile or put into a box.
Yeah, and she has trouble in a little bit when she's telling the cops that it was consensual. He did not rape her.
Yeah.
They're not sure what to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's sure. She's not sure what to do with it either, right? Her friends aren't sure what to do with it.
Right. She wakes up. She's strapped to a wheelchair. She's still in her undergarments. Hugh has a flashlight, and he's looking around this parking garage structure. He comes over and explains the rules of the movie as he understands them. He says he's not going to hurt her, but he needs her to remember everything that he says, whether or not she believes him. Just remember them. She's now being followed by something, and that something can take any shape. Someone gave it to him, and now he's passed it on to her. It can appear as somebody she knows or a complete stranger in the crowd. If there's only one of it, she starts to scream for help. He's still trying to explain he's not going to hurt her. He tells her that he sees it. He goes to pull the wheelchair over. We see it as well. We see a naked woman walking across these railroad tracks. She looks down to see the naked woman. Hugh approaches it, but it doesn't want Hugh. Hugh can run circles around it. It's not going for Hugh. It's going for Jay. So Hugh runs back to Jay, grabs her wheelchair, tells her to never go in a place with a woman exit, that it is very slow, but it is not dumb. And then we see him drive off in the car with her in it. Kelly with their friends Paul and Yara, who are sitting outside on the porch. Yara's reading from her book. She's reading all these deep quotes that relate to the movie. But then Hugh's car pulls up. Kelly can instantly tell something's wrong. He gets her out. She's still bound. He puts her in the lawn, tells her to be careful, never let it touch her, and drives away. Greg in his own house. He's on a date. and we see sirens at their house. The girl he's with is like, what is with those people? They're a big mess. And we see the police, and from the vantage point we see it, Jay is sitting on the ground. The camera is focused on her, so the officer taking the notes. We only see up to his waist, and we never see his face. In the background are the other paramedics, another police officer, who you can see their face, but they're far enough back that we can't see them clearly.
Well, I didn't notice this stuff at all.
Yeah, it's just a lot of interesting
I think the
little
things I noticed might not have even mattered. I noticed that the character had like an X on her finger. I don't know what that was about.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I really like this movie. The critics out there put out a commentary for it. It was really interesting, but I've like read a lot about it. I've watched it like 4 times this last month to like really study it, and I liked it. I just love it a lot. That's why.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting.
So we're now in a hospital bed. She's just staring into space. We see medical staffs walk in, but we don't get their faces either because it's zoomed in on her. We cut to the crime scene where we see the wheelchair. One of the officers finds her purse. It's really, the lighting makes it hard to see the police face, and they're far enough away that it doesn't seem to be a thing. Back at home, her mother has another friend over. Now we can see her mother's friend's face, but her mother's turned towards her friend, so we never see her. While they're having a conversation and talking about it, instead of focusing on the characters talking, we're focusing on pictures of the wall. And then this is where we get that Jay is short for Jamie, which the director said was because he's a big fan of Jamie Lee Curtis in the original Halloween.
I see.
We get Jay upstairs staring at herself in the mirror, wearing white bra and panties, and she's starting to look down at herself like she's studying, like is there something wrong with her? She can't tell. And then a big red ball hits the window.
And it's a very striking, it's a very quiet scene and a very loud bang.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the oldest trick in the book, but it works.
Yeah, and then we see Paul is outside the window but ducking. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're at class. We see that Greg is in one of Jay's classes. Her teacher's face can actually be seen clearly. The camera pans across the whole room. We focus on Jay in the back of the classroom. She's looking outside, and she starts to see this old woman in a white hospital gown. Obviously doesn't belong there. Walking towards her in a straight line. She gets creeped out by it, so she walks out into the hallway, even though the teacher's like, hey, you can't leave yet. When she looks back in the hallway, she sees that old woman is there. She calls back to try to talk to the woman, but these 2 other girls that are there think she's talking to them and respond. You can tell they obviously don't know that there is an old woman in this hallway. We get Jay walks outside. She gets to her car. She drives to this ice cream and yogurt shop, which is on 12th Mile, where her sister and Paul work. She tells them all what Hugh told her. They struggle to believe any of it is really real. Paul seems to be more willing to believe her. Paul volunteers to stay the night, but Kelly, in an insult to his character, says that Jay should be worried that she's going to wake up to see Paul humping her leg.
He's clearly got a major crush on her. I mean, it's like super obvious by this point. Yeah.
Right, yeah. But he says he wants to stay up just so she feels more protected. But yeah, he's obviously in love with her. It's nighttime in their house. We get an exterior shot. We zoom in to both the sisters brushing their teeth together, and we see that Yara is over as well. Paul is true to his word and sitting on the couch downstairs, and he's watching TV with a big bowl of popcorn in his lap. Much later in the night, Jay comes down and says she can't sleep, and Paul's willing to share the couch with her. They talk about how she was his first kiss, but he then messed up by kissing her sister. That like kind of ruined it for Jay.
Yeah, but my way of interpreting that was that what was going on was he was trying to test out like how do you kiss better or something like that, right? That's what I thought that was supposed to be implying. But
right, he was a little kid. It didn't like really seem to matter.
Yeah.
They talk about this time that they found dirty magazines together, and then they were reading them all in Greg's lawn when Greg's mom came out and took them away from him. But then they seem to be really bonding well, and it almost looks like they're going to let their feet touch when they hear a window breaking. Paul goes to check, but he says he doesn't see anybody. Jay wonders if they should call the police, and Paul goes upstairs to wake up Kelly. Jay gets up to look around. When she gets to the kitchen, she sees a woman who is topless, wearing like a light gray skirt and one white sock, and she looks like she's peed all over herself. She screams and she runs upstairs. Jay locks herself in the room. Kelly and Paul come over knocking, ask to be let in. She does let them in. Then when Yara knocks to be let in, she doesn't want them to let Yara in, but she does open the door for Yara. Yara enters, and then right behind her is the world's tallest man. Like, freaking creepy looking.
Yep.
Apparently, he was one of the 2 world's tallest twins.
Oh.
But he passed away a few years back.
I mean, that's kind of
2018.
Funny. Like, it's not hard to give somebody stilts, right? Like, that they went as far as actually getting somebody like that.
But it was super creepy.
It really was. I expected it to take something big to convince everybody that it was real, but it didn't seem to.
Yeah, I think for a little bit, not everybody knows exactly what's going on. They're supporting her. I think what really convinces her is when they all hear it a little bit when they all go to the beach.
Yeah.
She gets on her bike and rides away. We see that Greg is in his car or in another girl's car because it's not the car that he was watching earlier. And they're smoking when they see Jay run off on a bike and then all her friends run after her. Jay rides her bike to the swings and she sits in them waiting to see who's going to come up. Some people see this as Jay's like fight to be a child again, to take back the fact that she had sex, which you see as an idea of now you're an adult, now that you're making the decisions like having sex. But I don't know. But just a place she ran to, somewhere she was comfortable as a kid. But we see that Kelly, Paul, and Yara all catch up. They're asking her what's happening. In the distance, she's like, do you see that? And like, yeah, that's a person walking. Turns out to be Greg. Paul tells him that someone broke into their house and they don't want to tell her mom. They didn't call the police. They just want to go somewhere. So then Greg starts to walk away. He's going to get a car. Now it's dusk. They're all in Greg's car. We have epic music.
The music and like, it's really cool how well the music and the visuals work together to create a feeling in this movie. Just like every scene, it's the music and the visuals both. Like,
yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, I found myself on YouTube just listening to like 15 tracks of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like, so many times this week. It's so good. They're looking for
Hugh,
thank you. Greg drives him to the house that he had told her was his house, but was too embarrassed to show her the inside. It's this boarded up house in a, I guess, bad looking part of Detroit, a more rundown part of Detroit.
I mean, it is Detroit, so you could just say in most of Detroit. No,
well,
I'm just kidding.
I've heard a lot of people say that while these movies, at least this one actually filmed in Detroit, where a lot of movies are set in Detroit, don't actually film in Detroit. They just like build their own bad looking area. People from Detroit comment that there's actually a lot of beautiful places still in Detroit.
That's fair.
Everybody just focuses on the negative ones, unfortunately.
I just wanted to make a negative joke. Although I think that the choice of Detroit probably says something. Like, for this movie. I was thinking about that too. Like, did they just choose it because aesthetically the rundown aesthetic is good for a horror movie? Or is there something deeper about, like, are they trying to go for a theme of, like, sort of everything decaying, things falling apart, not just the whole situation with her trying to escape this thing, with also your life starting to maybe not quite unravel, but get a little less predictable after you enter adulthood, like you said, start sleeping with people and stuff like that. And that kind of goes along with the urban decay in Detroit. Maybe, I'm not sure if that's what they're going for, but
right. They also could be like just driving home the point that it's not like these children have unlimited resources to them. A lot of people online was like, well, build an iron cage and trick it to going in there. I'm like, yes, but where are these kids going to get this iron cage? Like, they don't have the resources. And other people are like, take a flight to another country. And I'm like, yes, but these kids, one, do they have a passport at all? And two, can they afford to fly back and forth to different parts of the world every time it gets close enough? Like,
well, that's interesting. I was wondering about that too. I mean, I was doing the same thing. I was like, why can't you just surround yourself with treadmills, right? Like, you know, you could power your house off this thing.
Or Hugh said it was smart. The director himself, which I know is outside the film, he said he never said anywhere that it couldn't board a plane itself. If that's, it says it's smart.
Okay.
It can also walk on a tarmac and get itself into a plane. But we never see that in the movie. But it is a concept that I guess he was tired of people saying, why don't you just take a plane every half a year to another side of the world?
That was my thinking too, is why not just do that? But I mean, I get what you're saying about they don't have resources, but
right, they're just a bunch of kids.
If you're in fear of your life, I mean, at some point you just rob somebody, right? Like, you do what you got to do to survive.
Sure. Well, interestingly, just passing it on is the easiest way to do it that the movie sets up.
Yes.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Inside this house, we see all these cans that are set up like a makeshift alarm system. So if it were to break in, he would hear it. Everybody looking around the place. Yara's looking up at the canned foods he had on this top shelf. And we get this scene where Greg is checking out her legs. Paul, meanwhile, goes upstairs and finds that Hugh had a porno collection of magazines. There's a bunch of them. But as he's looking through the magazines, Jay comes up to the same room. She looks out the window. Like, they're all covered in like newspaper and comic books, and there's enough holes to like peek out of to see. She does see someone walking in the streets, but it's not like that person's walking towards them. But she does get freaked out. Paul comes across a photo of Hugh with a girl who's wearing a Letterman jacket. From Lawson High School, Paul says someone there has to know his real name. So we cut to Lawson High School and we get shots on the grounds while an announcement is going over the loudspeaker. One is in reference to wrestlers handing in form to Mr. Dwiggins, and Christian Dwiggins is the editor and re-recording mixer of the movie. We see Jay and Greg walking inside the school. We have the creepy music. As the camera pans around, as they're looking through yearbooks, we see outside the window, somebody is walking a straight line towards that window. It pans back to them. Again, we don't hear any of this conversation happening. We just see them find the picture in the yearbook, thank the woman for showing them the picture. The camera is from outside the office, and the back of the adult is to the camera, so we never see her face. We're back in the car, and they tell the group that they have found out that his real name is Jeff, not Hugh, and they know where he lives. When they're discussing this, we see that the same figure that we saw walking towards the office is way in the distance now, walking towards the car in a straight line, right through the parking lot in a direction that a normal person just wouldn't walk.
Yeah.
But again, it's always ambiguous. Is that it or not? The movie never tells you, and I like that. It doesn't feel like it has to.
Yeah.
They also decide that they still don't want to go to the police. They get to Jeff's house. Jay's at the door, and they're all spread out in the driveway. This is where Jeff Mom opens the door. Jay gives a pause before asking for Jeff, and that's because she recognizes her as the woman from the parking garage when she was tied to the wheelchair, because it took the form of Jeff's mom, even though she had never met Jeff's mom before this moment.
Yeah,
She now recognizes it.
I didn't realize that was how she...
You gotta do it. You have to rewatch it
to
see the faces, because you wouldn't know this character ever existed. You wouldn't remember.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting. Now they cut to them in the backyard. Jay is filling him in that she's been followed. He tells her that he can still see it, and that if it were to get her, it would then just come back to him. If it kills him, it would go all the way back down the line to wherever this thing started.
And I thought that was an interesting idea, too, because... For one thing, that makes his gesture of telling her all about it not altruistic, right? Like, you can, when you first see the initial scene, he tries to play it up as, I'm just doing you a favor by telling you about this thing, right? But now it doesn't seem like he's doing her a favor, because he needs her to survive, or it goes right back to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not a great decision, and Jay herself struggles with the concept of passing it on to somebody else.
Right.
She doesn't want someone else to die as a result of her doing this. But he tells her it should be easy for her because she's a girl and she's pretty. Any guy would be willing to sleep with her. And you cut to Paul, who looks like he's
about to explode.
He wants to volunteer his tribute.
Yeah. Well, you know he does. I mean, it's very clear they're setting up for that, right?
Yes.
Very clear. And what kind of happens next is kind of surprising for that reason. But, well, actually, I'll save that for later.
Okay, we can sure. This girl walks by. Greg kind of freaks out, asking if they see her. She's carrying a soccer ball. And they're like, yeah, we could see her. He tells her they shouldn't even be in the same place, and then they need to go. Greg keeps telling Jeff to calm down and watch how he's talking to them because he's being a little rude. But then they finally get up and go. We cut to it being nighttime. Greg is driving again. Kelly's asking if she's thought about passing it on, and she says she doesn't want to. They get to Greg's family's lake house. Kelly's cooking breakfast while Jay is setting up a bunch of these cans on the windows just in case it were to break in. I think they're taking shifts to stay up late. Paul's reading a book really late while everybody else is asleep.
You're kind of worried here, like, oh no, they're at the water, which is the same way that the last person died, right? But,
that's true.
But at the same time, it's like, how did the last person die? Because you can outrun it easily, you know? It doesn't matter if there's a lake. All you have to do is make a turn. I mean...
She could have fell asleep.
Yeah.
She could have gave up.
That seems like a horrible way to give up. I don't know. I would sooner shoot myself than feed myself to this torture machine killer thing, you know?
Well, I'm assuming she doesn't know how, hasn't seen someone else die.
I guess that's fair.
But because she might not know how tortured it is. I don't know. Maybe she fell asleep. We don't see it happen.
That's true. Yeah. We didn't see it happen.
Later that day, Greg goes out to the boathouse. He gets a gun, and he's training Jay on how to use it while the rest of the group watches. She actually is pretty good at shooting. Then we get a relaxing scene at the beach. We see a shot of Paul, Jay, and Kelly, and Greg. They're all there just chilling at the beach. In the background behind Jay, in the grass area, that Yara's starting to walk in up, and she's wearing all white. Then we cut to the water, and we see Yara again, but she's floating in an inner tube. And she's telling the group, why don't you guys come on in? Mm-hmm. But we know we just saw Yara behind Jay walking up. Kelly's asking Jay, oh, how about it? Do you want to? When we see her hair rise into the air.
Didn't notice that either, but I did notice I did realize that was it. So it didn't matter that I didn't notice that
it was Yara?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So when her hair goes up and then she starts fighting as it is pulling on her hair, Paul gets up, grabs a lawn chair, smacks it against where he thinks it is, and the chair does break. Then Paul is thrown out of the screen.
Yeah.
Like he's flung around. So, if anybody didn't believe, the people that watched this happen did believe. Unfortunately, Greg was off peeing in the grass with his back turned and didn't see it happen. So they all run to the boathouse. The real Yara is out of the water, makes it in the boathouse with them. They close the door. They all want to know what she saw, but she's too scared to tell them anything. We hear banging on the door. The door has a big hole that explodes, and we see a little boy looking down through the hole, and it's transformed itself small so it could fit right through this hole.
Right, yeah.
Jay runs out the door that would let a boat out. She runs around. Oh, I missed it. I apologize. She grabbed the gun before they showed the door and started firing at it. She actually did get a headshot, but it was down. It fell to the ground and started getting up after like 2.4 seconds. So we know that a headshot.
2.4 exactly.
I mean, I was roughly. And it got up really fast.
What does 2.4 mean? It's 24 divided by 10. It's...
Oh my gosh. But in the scene, she's firing away. Greg can't see it, doesn't know what's going on. To him, it looks like she's firing at him, and he's yelling like, "Stop firing."
Well, I mean, and it is a danger to him because she could hit him, you know.
He ducks behind a lawn chair like, what? There's nothing else to hide behind.
Yeah.
You're right. So then, after this whole happens, she runs out of the boathouse the other way. It is now transformed into a girl again. And she runs to Greg's car, takes the car without the group. Even though they're running after her, she could have stopped and let them in the car because it was much slower than them, but she's too scared. She drives off. She's looking back while driving forward, which always terrifies me in movies. Yeah. Then when she looks forward, there's a truck. She takes a sharp left, knocks over someone's mailbox, and crashes into a cornfield.
Yeah. The mailbox is the real tragedy of this movie.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Yeah, she did seem very panicked. I guess it's maybe understandable, but I don't know. I feel like it's easier to keep your head if something is that slow. Yeah. At least for me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just not in the right headspace to understand how she felt about it.
Yeah, I don't know. So now she's in the hospital. All her friends are there. She has a cast on her right arm, and we see that she has some bandages on her head. She's looking out the door. She's worried that it's going to walk by. In a moment, a nurse does walk by wearing all white, and it does scare her.
And us.
Yeah. She looks over her friends, and the camera zooms out to let us know that she is staring at Greg. We have 2 shots of medical personnel flirting somewhere in the hospital, and they're facing each other, so we kind of see their faces. And then it passes through other people in the hospital as visitors with their families. And then it finally pans to Jay, where Greg has seemed to volunteer to go ahead and let her pass it on to him. Yeah. So he's on top of her, and they're having sex right there in the hospital.
You got to wonder if he would have volunteered if he had actually been one of the ones who saw it, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't believe it. Yeah. He tells her that of course he believes her, but he didn't see it.
But, I mean, you don't know if he's telling the truth, right?
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
For him, it could just be, I could get some sex with this girl.
Right, exactly.
Right? Like, you don't know. You don't know it.
Right. We see Paul and Kelly waiting outside the room. The next day, they're looking at how close Greg and Jay look to each other. Greg is back at school at a table talking to 3 girls, and he looks really friendly and possibly flirting with one of these girls here. There's a time period that seems long enough that it hasn't found him at all. While it's ambiguous, it is possible that he slept with one or all 3 of these girls at this table to pass it on. But the movie doesn't tell you. It leaves it ambiguous. But we do see him flirting with the girl and like getting very close to this one girl.
Okay, I didn't realize that was what they were implying, but...
Well, no. It doesn't say that it is. It's just an idea. Because there was so long before it comes to Greg.
Well, like they're giving you some hope that he's passed it on, or...
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that it's a possible, but it's left ambiguous.
Yeah. Well, it's not left ambiguous eventually, because...
Yes. Well, no. Because it could have killed them, and we never saw it.
Yeah, you're right.
Then come back to Greg, and that was the delay of 3 days where he saw nothing.
That makes sense.
We see Jay swimming again. Greg comes over to talk to the other 3. They tell him that she hasn't gotten any better. She just stays in her room and locks her door. They're confused why he doesn't see it, and Paul seems kind of offended that he hasn't seen it. But Greg does tell him, like, look, I know she saw something, but it's not what she thinks. Some time passes, and we see Jay looking out the window at Greg's house, and she can't sleep. She sees what looks like Greg walking around in a white onesie PJs, walking up to his own house and struggling to get into the front door.
I feel like every time it's the thing, it's kind of obvious to me. Just because of the way it walks is not...
It's also always wearing white.
Oh, that
in
is
some
interesting.
form, fashion.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it's like a light gray muted color, but the character's still wearing white somewhere,
Yeah.
which I found interesting. Like it could be blue jeans and a white top.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah. So it can't get in the front door, goes over to this rock structure, grabs a rock and throws it through the window and jumps through the window. Jay tries to use her landline to call Greg, but just gets his answer machine or voicemail, not exactly sure. Then she runs across the street. She's screaming for Greg to open the door. Then she climbs through the same window. She lands on a couch that's there and then rolls onto the floor. She goes up the stairs and she sees Greg's mom dressed in a white nightgown continuously knocking on Greg's door. It stops to look at Jay for a second, but then continues to knock.
That was an interesting scene. I kind of like
Yeah.
that. Like it acknowledges her. Like
Yeah.
there's an implicit,
I know who you are.
like I know who you are, but there's rules here. We got to deal with him first,
Yeah.
then we can deal with you.
So she's yelling for Greg not to open the door, but he just opens the door and he's like, "What, Mom?" And when we see his mom, she's sort of nude. Like, I mean, she's got the gown on, but it's not closed. It jumps on Greg, and Jay, not being able to pass up the opportunity to see what is going on, walks into the room, and it is very sexually killing him as it, like, humps Greg slowly to death.
Which really, aside from being the way most guys would probably want to go, it really kind of ties into the idea that there's something about this movie that has something to do with a metaphor for sex killing you, right? Like there's some sort of
Yes.
idea that, I mean, there's the obvious, you could say, well, it's about STDs or whatever. I think that's almost too direct, but
Right.
but that's clearly a theme that they're going for.
Yeah, I think the director would go a little deeper than that.
Yeah,
Some answers towards the end of what he says. Jay runs outside, gets into her car, and we see that it has taken Greg's form again, wearing all white and walking after her. She drives for a long time crying. She ends up in a wooden area. She gets out on the hood of her car and falls asleep on the hood of her car, which I would have fallen asleep in the car.
Yeah,
Because
really.
if it breaks the window, at least you have a chance to escape.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But she's far enough away, I think, is the idea.
Yeah, I know. I just thought it was a dumb decision, but I'm not in her shoes, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
But she wakes up and she takes a small walk over to the river and she sees 3 guys out on a boat partying. She takes her top layer off, so she's down to a tiny shirt and panties, and she gets to the water and the movie cuts there to her driving and being wet on when she's driving home.
And I thought it was implying that she had passed it on to them.
It's ambiguous, but I think she did. But I don't think, because she probably didn't tell them, hey, something's following you.
Yeah.
Don't let it touch you. It probably killed them really fast.
Maybe. I was actually, I mean, when they first passed it on to Greg, right, my thought process was, okay, well, we know he's going to die because the movie's setting up Paul to be the hero, right?
Yeah.
Like, and take one for the team. So, like, we know he's going to die, but then everything after he died, I was just like, well, wait a minute, when's she's going to sleep with Paul? That's got to be happening soon, right? Because they're
Right.
setting it up to happen.
Yeah, I didn't think that's funny. The first time I watched it, I just thought he was going to be that awkward friend where it never happened. But yeah, when she gets back home, she looks at her pool in the backyard and it looks like it has broken it and all the water is now empty, so she can't swim in
Yeah.
that pool anymore. We see that all the girls are sleeping in the same room when Paul knocks on the door. She removes the chair and lets him in. He asks why she gave it to Greg, and she said that she thought he'd be okay, he'd be able to pass it on, and that he would be fine. Plus, he didn't seem to be scared. But Paul's again telling her, like, I'm willing to do it. And she says that she can't do that to him.
And you just know he's like, dang it.
Right, sure. But she did say that she did sleep with Greg back in high school years ago, and it was never a big deal then. So
Right.
she thought it wouldn't be a big deal now. Paul does try to kiss her, but Jay doesn't let him. And she goes to look out her window, and we see Greg's house as that window is all boarded up, and there's a police vehicle in the driveway. Meanwhile, Paul is looking at pictures on her mirror. There's the one of her swimming and the one under it of her being younger with her father. And this is where he gets the idea. As they're packing up to go to where we know they're going to the pool, it took the third viewing of this movie for me to realize, as they're packing up and getting in the car, a kid rides up on a bicycle and stops for them to back out. That kid is the kid at the boathouse that it took the form of when the hole blew through the wall and it needed to be small to go through the hall. It was this kid that was riding a bike around the neighborhood.
Huh. Interesting.
Which I think is cool. Like, they keep getting the actors who later in the movie
Yeah.
are someone that she sees on a daily basis
I see.
that it is taking the form of.
Well, that kind of lends itself to the dream theory, right? Because like dreams are populated by people you've seen on a daily basis, right?
Sure.
So,
Yeah. So that they all get in the car. As they're driving away, we see it is standing on the roof completely naked and has taken the form of an old man. In the trailer, that old man was wearing boxers.
Huh.
But
Okay.
because they're not going to show a penis in a trailer for everybody to watch.
I see.
But in the movie, he was completely nude, which I thought was just funny. And then they go to a more rundown area of Detroit. And while I've never lived in Detroit, I did spend a little bit of time in Flint, Michigan, when I was in AmeriCorps NCCC, repairing houses around that area.
Interesting.
Which was interesting. So I did get to drive into Detroit. We got to go see a baseball game there, which was kind of cool.
Cool.
But we did get to learn a lot about the history there while we were staying there in AmeriCorps. So we get to them walking up to this indoor pool, and they're talking about how their parents would never let them go there when they're kids. They have to break through this fence to get in. When they get inside, they start plugging in all these appliances to power strips, lamps, typewriters, small TVs, and hair dryers. Jay is inside the pool waiting as the rest wait outside the pool, and we see that outside it's now storming heavily.
It's really weird to me that they think they need appliances to electrocute something. Like, all you need are wires, man. All you need are extension cords. Like,
Sure. Yeah, but then their kid's coming up with this idea.
Yeah.
This is the best they got. This is what they went with. And obviously, it doesn't work that well.
I gotcha.
So hours go by and Jay finally sees it. Kelly asks who it appears to be, but she doesn't want to tell them it is taking the shape of their father. Because we kept seeing that picture of her father on the mirror, and we focus on it a lot more after this scene. This guy that is attacking her in this moment appears to be her father.
Well, yeah, Hugh did say at the beginning it takes the form of people you love to mess with you.
Yeah.
Which it clearly was taking the form of his mom, right? And now
Yeah.
it's taking the form of her dad.
Right. Paul asks Jay to point at it since they can't see it, and she does. It starts throwing objects at her, and their plan is backfired. And then we find out that through those power strips and those appliances, there's not enough electricity to harm it, much less her, who's still in the water. Because the plan isn't working. So Paul runs to get a gun, and as Jay is pointing it, he starts firing, but not realizing that he misses it and hits Yara in the leg. She goes down grabbing her leg. He keeps trying, and eventually Kelly gets the idea to throw a towel over it, and we do get to see its outline. Paul goes right up to it, shoots it in the head, and it falls in the water. Jay starts swimming away, but it grabs her in the pool. And in a scene that reminds me of Return of the Jedi, where they're like, just a little higher, just a little higher. Paul is firing right above Jay and doesn't manage to get another headshot.
See, I don't understand why it was so hard. You'd think that when it's in the water, you'd be able to see the outline of it because there wouldn't be any water there.
I don't know.
You know, that's what I was thinking the whole time. I'm like, shouldn't they be able to see this, like, hole in the water, this bubble, the shape of a person?
You're right, with all the other physics that matter. Like, if it could touch things and move them, then it would displace matter.
You would think.
I didn't think of it at all. You're right, man. Paul's able to get a headshot. Jay's able to swim away, and Yara and Paul pull her out of the pool. She's scared to look, but when she goes over to look, the pool is filled with red blood.
Like, too much.
Yeah.
Like, way more than could come from one person.
Right, so it's almost like, hey, did they actually kill it? We don't know. Now they're back in Jay's room, and Paul is on top of her. She's ready to pass it on to him, and he's very willing to help.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no music in this scene. Just moaning. I had to make a note of that.
I feel like there's a reason for that. I feel like they tried not to make it too romantic or anything. I don't think the director likes Paul, which I'm not sure whether Paul is even, in the creator of the movie's mind, a good guy. Like, I feel like he is nothing but horny. You know what I mean? I'm not sure, but...
I don't know. I mean, I could see how you would see it that way. I know that he wants to be heroic. He wants to step up with good ideas. And he definitely takes action when action is needed to be taken.
Yeah.
He's the first to jump up and throw a chair at it, which got him thrown across the screen. And luckily, it didn't kill him.
That's fair.
So I think while he is written as horny, I would say more it's longing, like he's in love.
Yeah.
But I would say that at least the writer-director did give him enough heroic scenes that he, in my eyes, he's a good guy.
Okay, I'll buy that. They sure don't romanticize him. Let me put it that way.
Right.
None of this is romantic to us, however romantic it might be to him. They don't put us in his shoes at all.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. After this, we see a scene of him driving by two prostitutes. It's like during the magic hour of filming, like when it's dusk or dawn for that beautiful like red sky.
Yeah.
And he
Lots
drives
of beautiful shots.
Yes. He drives right by these prostitutes. We don't see him stop. And again, it's left ambiguous with whether he slept with one or both of them to pass it on. But that is one theory that a lot of people have. Just sleep with prostitutes often, which is not fair.
Even just once would do it, I think.
Oh, because they would pass it on.
to a lot of people very quickly, who would
Yeah.
who are also probably the kind of people who pass it on to a lot of people very quickly.
Yeah. It could buy you a lot of time.
That's what well, I mean, it could buy you unlimited. I mean, if it fans out fast enough,
Yeah.
you're good. You're fine. Because you'll never catch
Right.
up to it.
Right. But the movie does not tell us whether or not he did it.
Yeah.
In the hospital of Yara's room, she's reading from her clamshell about torture and torment. Something about until the time of death. The whole time she's doing this, she's eating, which drove me nuts. Because she is smacking while talking because there's a sandwich in her mouth. I was like, I found the horror in this movie.
She's a slightly obnoxious character, so it fits.
I mean, I liked her generally.
Oh, I liked her too, but
okay.
she's a slightly obnoxious character. I mean, that's just her character, right? She's a little bit of she's not your elegant type.
Sure. So then we get a shot of Paul and Jay walking down the neighborhood sidewalk. They're holding hands. We zoom into them holding hands, and we zoom back out. We see a figure wearing jeans, a dark jacket, and a white shirt walking behind them slowly about 2 houses down. And the movie does not tell us whether or not this is it. And the credits roll. And I have to say one more time, I love the music.
Yeah. Okay. I love the uncertain ending. It reminded me a little bit of like Taxi Driver. The ambiguous ending, like you don't know what's going on, everything is left up in the air, nothing is resolved. Have fun, like just write your own sequel basically in your mind. I think that's a really effective method of storytelling where you prompt your audience to write their own sequel in their imagination by the way you leave things off.
Which can also definitely hurt the longer it takes you to make a sequel.
Oh, that's a good point.
They are working on They Follow.
Yeah.
And They Follow will take place something like 11 years after the events. And if we all have written ideas of what we want to happen in this movie over a decade, it can really hurt when the sequel comes out.
I mean, I think that's a big part of what happened to Star Wars. I mean, I have other complaints. I have substantial complaints about Star Wars. But aside from the
older I get, the more I like them. The prequels.
I'll just ignore that. So, no, I think you're absolutely right. I think it could probably hurt them. So, yeah, they better hurry, huh?
Yeah.
I guess they've already not hurried.
Little things that we didn't touch yet on the metaphor of being an adult.
Yeah.
One theory is that as an adult, we realize that death is coming for us, and we're usually trying to hide from it or figure out how to avoid it.
Yeah, I also read it. I was thinking after it ended about what I would, and I'm always wrong, but what I thought that was the
You have
intended,
good insights.
Well, I think maybe from a death of the author standpoint, like I can come up with good ideas for what something means, but then it just usually turns out that's not what the person who made it meant.
Yeah, but I would argue that if you get something out of the film that the author didn't put there, it doesn't necessarily make it less valuable. And my prime example is in Night of the Living Dead, 1968. The creator, George A. Romero, never intended for the main character to be a black man. But everybody was open to audition, and a black man was the best at auditioning. So he filled the role and didn't change any of the script for him. Yeah. So when another one of the main characters refuses to follow his lead, it's seen as, oh, he can't follow the lead of a black man. And at the end of the movie, he is shot by people assuming that everything's zombies, but it looks like to people that have analyzed the film that a bunch of people just killed the black man for being black.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is something can be in there without being put there intentionally.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, you can have a pretty rock that looks exactly like, I don't know, character in a movie or something, and it's just that way. It does look like that though, right? Like it's there, it's just not intentional. And I think that's kind of the idea of death of the author, right? It doesn't necessarily, well, it does matter, I guess, but it's not what the author intended isn't the end of the story. Yeah. So in that sense, I will move on with what I was going to say because that was what I was going to say.
Cool.
What I was going to say was that I kind of felt like that maybe the it just represents, because it's so slow, right? Just the inevitability of death, like just mortality.
Yeah.
Like which ties in with what you were just saying.
Right.
So it's kind of this thing, we all are just being stalked by this predator that's definitely going to get us eventually.
Yes.
And it's really true. And I mean, how much more horrifying can something be than something that is absolutely real, that you know for sure really is going to happen to you in the audience, right?
Yes.
And that's real horror right there. And then all the stuff about sex, I wonder if it was about like comfort, this idea that you've got this impending doom, right? And then all you can do is take some sort of temporary comfort from that, which is kind of the sex thing. I also think that there's a sense of impending doom, like, maybe, I don't think it's just me, but maybe it's just me, that just in the world today, in the times in which we live, there's a bit of a sense of impending doom. And I think that whether that made it into the movie or not, I felt like it was in there.
Okay.
Death of the author.
Sure. So one thing the writer-director said is that while, yes, on the surface level, it appears to be about a sexually transmitted demon, he would say that it was more the basis of his idea is more that when having sex, 1 + 1 does not always equal 2. That it doesn't necessarily mean because you have a child or because you catch a disease, but it could also mean that it just changes the relationship at its core. What you start out as 2 pieces of a puzzle get way more complicated once you've had sex.
I liked another thing that the creator of the movie said.
Yeah.
That was that it wasn't really written to have a specific message, but that it was more written like a dream in the sense of having just a bunch of thoughts that are, I guess, that seem to come from a dream and just fit together in like an intuitive way, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I think he said, I don't remember what his exact words were, but...
Right. One scene, the scene, I guess, when they're at the theater in the beginning and they're having the conversation about the game. It feels like it jump cuts to another location. They're outside theater, then they're in line for popcorn, and then they're just in the seats. And I felt like the conversation really didn't have a break. And it's like how in a dream, you won't notice that you're now in another room, and it feels normal to be there.
Yes.
I felt like that was filmed really good.
Yeah.
If it's part of a dream. One other thing that the director said is that he pointed out that just because Jeff/Hugh says that these rules are rules do not necessarily mean they're fact. They're just what he has observed when it was chasing them.
Interesting.
And all we learn about it is based on what he says and what we observe when it's chasing Jay and our other characters.
Yeah.
So there could be other rules, or the rules could not be exactly what we understand.
Right.
Only he knows.
Yeah, I
But
wonder.
it's interesting.
That makes me wonder how far away some of these locations were, and I'm like, could you really walk that distance in that amount of time? But what if it caught a bus?
Yeah.
I mean, like you're saying, we don't know it can't do that.
Right. Film Theory, Matt Pat, has a really good video on actually mapping out where the locations were in Michigan that they went to and the time it would take to walk there. And he believes that the film nailed it, like how long it takes to walk from one place to another.
So it didn't take a bus, which might suggest that it can't take buses, or might just indicate a personal preference.
To not take buses.
Yeah. Maybe it just but doesn't like the way
that's
people
for
smell.
lower class it's.
Yeah.
I
There's
walk.
Sometimes there's smelly people on buses. I can tell you from experience.
That I get.
Not always, but once in a while.
Oh, man. The director has also gone on record as saying that he believes that a condom would not stop it from passing to another person, nor would sex with creatures save you.
Oh.
Like you can't pass it on to a dog.
Okay. He
I
felt
guess-
the need to say
I
that.
think enough people have brought up theories to him that these are responses that he gives.
Okay. What if you had sex with an angel?
Ooh, we got mystical. And the angel can't be killed.
Yeah, there you go.
This is fascinating. Oh my gosh.
Is it really?
I mean, if we're going to go down that road, right? Like introduce other supernatural beings, you know? Freaking vampires, man.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you have sex with the same person twice, does it reset back to them as the primary?
I don't know. I think it does. I think it would switch back and forth.
Then what counts as sex? Like if you orgasm twice, does that...
I don't know. I don't know if...
Whether it's an odd... Wait, was it an odd number or even number?
I feel like we're going down some crazy topics here.
As we should. I was thinking, what if you were on a space station?
Yeah, I mean, like you flew to outer space to another planet.
Yeah, well, or yeah, if you had sex with an astronaut, they're on the ISS for like 2 months. Where does it go? Does it just stand there looking at the sky?
Maybe.
Because that would be kind of funny.
It would be kind of funny.
Especially if all the other victims just stand there and point and laugh at it. Ha 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 ha. What now, bitch?
Oh my gosh. All right, we may need to call this. Oh man. All right, thanks for doing this though. This is a fun one. I'm glad you liked it. I thought I was listening to other episodes that he did when we were editing, and I know that you like scoring movies a lot.
Yes.
And you like when movies live ambiguous and you get to decide the ending.
Yes.
And so I was like, this is the perfect movie to cover next.
Yeah, it was very good. I did like it.
All right. Thank you out there, listeners, for listening. If you'd like to send us recommendations, please email us at nightmareechoespod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to follow us on Instagram, Nightmare Echoes Pod. Thanks for listening, and I hope you listen again. We have new episodes every Monday. Bye.